Today I wanted to share with you my top 30 free genealogy websites. This program I did as a live show back in February of 2020. And well, I've cut it down and removed all the comments and interactions with the live audience so that we can get right to the top 30 plus websites. There is a handout with updated clickable links for the information access level channel members. If that is something you are interested in, if you're not a channel member already, all you have to do is click the join button on the YouTube channel. For channel members, if you didn't get notified, make sure that bell icon is clicked. You should be getting notifications if you have clicked the bell icon, and the settings on the YouTube channel are set for all notifications. And well, of course, you can always find all of the blog posts and links for the handouts in the community tab. Some of them will say member access, so make sure that if you're looking for them, you're looking for the big bold letters that say handouts, and hit the read more button, open that up so that you can get to the links. I know some people have been having a hard time finding them. All right, now on to the show. Here we are. We're going to talk about 30, get this, 30 free websites that are available for your family history research. So we're going to jump into that here in just a moment. If this is your first time here, my name is Connie Knox. I am a lifelong genealogist here to help you go further, faster, and factually with your family research. If you'll notice, I'm sporting a new t-shirt. It is my Happy Dance shirt. I made this after I was successful. I'm sure you all have done this at one time or another. You have found something that you've been looking for a long time, and you're running around the house and you're doing the happy dance. So that's why I created this shirt. I love this little shirt. And they're super comfortable. If that is something you're interested in, or you can, again, I pop it up here again. All of the t-shirts that I create help support Genealogy TV. That's at patreon.com, teespring.com/Genealogy TV. Also, if I get a lot of questions, I do coaching. That's at patreon.com/Genealogy TV. 30, actually more than 30 free websites. So really, it's kind of a no-brainer. The first one is Family Search. So Family Search, if you're not familiar with Family Search, or you're an adamant Ancestry user or some other, MyHeritage or Find My Past or what other website you're using, if you're adamant that that's the only website that you're using, I would highly recommend that you consider looking at Family Search, because Family Search, everything about it is free. Okay, so Family Search is kind of a no-brainer. So make sure that you check that out. Everything about it is free. Keep in mind, though, with Family Search, it is a collaborative tree, and that people will be changing it. So it's really kind of a group effort to create the world tree. So many of you already know about that, so I'm just going to move on, but just know that if you put something up on the Family Search tree and it gets changed because somebody else says, no, wait a minute, I think this information is the right information, they have to state why. It may show you something different. Moving on to Ancestry. Of course, this is normally a paid service for most people. Ancestry does have free options, and there are several things here I'm going to point out, but one of which is just the research guides. But you can create a free family tree on Ancestry. There is also some getting started lessons for those who are beginners. And now jumping over to MyHeritage, of course, these are the big three, right? Family Search, Ancestry, and MyHeritage. There is MyHeritage. Now, when you go to MyHeritage's homepage, you're going to find that it's going to try and get you to buy into it, which is fine. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, I believe there is a link for sign up for free right here at the very bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Let me pull that up full screen. So right down here at the bottom, as you can see, there are several options, but right up underneath the Home tab, it says sign up for free. Let me jump to the next one, which is Genie, but while Genie also has a paid option, Genie also has a free option. Now this is a MyHeritage company as well. They acquired them not too long ago. All right, so anyhow, Genie has some free options as well. You can build a tree there as well. Number 5 on the list, I'm just going to jump over to it, is Find My Past. They too have free options. In fact, I don't know if you can see this. Okay, so Find My Past has right here at the very top a section for free records. GEDmatch. So this is kind of in the world of DNA websites and the free options for some of the DNA websites, and GEDmatch certainly is probably going to top the list. Yeah, you can import GEDCOM from Ancestry to Genie. Yes, actually, that's a good point, James. You can download a GEDCOM file from almost anywhere and upload it to almost anywhere. So all of these tree building websites, you can definitely upload. In fact, they encourage you to do so because they want you on their service. Because a lot of these services, with the exception of Family Search, has a paywall at some point. So they're going to invite you to build a free tree and then eventually get you on a paywall. But this one, GEDmatch, that we're talking about is where you can download your DNA from any of the DNA services that you have taken a test at and then upload it to GEDmatch to try and get a wider cousin match set. And so that is wildly popular. GEDmatch just recently was sold, and I think it's Verigen owns it now. And they have pretty much promised to keep the same process and the same tiers. Now, if you go to tier 1 on GEDmatch, you will get charged. I think it's $10 a month, but you can do a buy-as-you-go kind of thing. It's really cheap and totally worth it if you are trying to do some DNA research. Search Angels. So let me jump over to the Search Angel page. And the Search Angels, this is kind of an interesting group. They help people find their biological parents, and they really kind of do it for free. They do take donations, but people who are searching and maybe not quite understand how to use the DNA and such, the Search Angels are here to help. Okay, so now the next one on the list is really kind of in the realm of searching forums and wikis and looking for your ancestors there. US Gen Web is one that you can actually drill in, and for anybody who follows me at all knows that I usually search by location first and then by surname. And one of the reasons why I do that is because you can be searching by surname first and not find something and get discouraged and not know why. And it might be because the records don't exist on that service. So by drilling in by location first, you can go, oh, wait a minute, they don't have these records for the period that I'm looking for or in the exact location I'm looking for. So I almost always will search by location first just to see what record sets are there, and then start searching into the different individual record sets by surname or by the person that I'm searching for. So in this case, US Gen Web is a project that is all volunteer. You can drill into any of the states you want and learn a little bit more about it. Now, the complementary piece to that is World Gen, where it is also location driven by country. Facebook surname groups. Now, if you've not been involved with Facebook surname groups, it's really helpful. Get on Facebook. Even if you're not a Facebook member, you could probably go search for them in the top section there and just type the surname that you're looking for. A lot of people name them genealogy groups. Like in this case, I'm showing you mine. So here is one of my Facebook groups, and this is the Madsen Johnson Jensen genealogy group for the Madsens who lived in Wyoming. I can't tell you how wildly helpful these can be. I've got a couple of them here. I'm going to pull this other one up, where it can be a small private group with just your cousins, or it can be a open group. There are some of the groups that I belong to that are open to everybody. You know, it's just one big collaboration, but it's very narrow focused on just the surname usually it's a surname in an area. So I have one that's called Henleys in the United States. I know of another Henley group that has a ton of people who are on that group, and they're all sharing photographs and stories and all kinds of things. So I highly recommend looking for Facebook groups. And if you can't find one, start one. I highly recommend it because you're going to find people who find you that way. And I just think it's really helpful. Okay, moving on to, let me get this up here. In the world of databases, now we have the Social Security Death Index, which really, to the best of my knowledge, does not have its own searchable database, but it's free on many of the websites. So you can find it on Ancestry, you can find it on Family Search, you can find it on Find My Past, you can find it on all of them because the US Social Security Death Index is available to everybody. So that made the list as well. Coming up next is Ellis Island Foundation. Now, the Ellis Island Foundation, let me jump over to that one for you. The Ellis Island Foundation has a searchable database. Right up here in the very top corner, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a button there that you can push, and you can search that database as well. So next on the list is, you're going to like this one, Dead Fred. You got to love Dead Fred. Dead Fred is a place where people share photographs of their ancestors. So that had to make the list, right? Find a Grave. You knew I had to put Find a Grave in here. Find a Grave, if you're not familiar with Find a Grave, this is where volunteers go out and photograph the gravestones. And as long as we're talking about Find a Grave, we need to talk about Billion Graves. Billion Graves is the same thing, different company. And people volunteer to photograph tombstones so you can find your ancestors online. So that's wildly helpful. And as long as we're talking about Find a Grave and Billion Graves, we need to talk about Cemetery Census. Now, this is kind of a new find recently. It doesn't have all of the states. In fact, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that better, but quite a bit of records on here. So, I think it was worthy of making the list. Next up is in the world of military records. Now, when we're talking about military records, we need to be mindful of the Civil War Soldier and Sailors Database. And this one is actually put out by the National Park Service. And one of the reasons why I put it on the list was because it has a lot of information. Not only can you browse for people, but you can browse for regiments and stuff and learn a little bit about the history of, if you know what regiment, for example, your ancestor was a part of, you might be able to learn a little bit about the happenings and the skirmishes that they fought in and such. So I needed to make sure that that was on the list as well. Next up is the Sons of the American Revolution. The SAR. So they do have a searchable database as well. They also have they have a fair amount of information. But if you think that your ancestors are part of the American Revolution, you can not only search their database but apply to belong. And as long as we're talking about that, we need to talk about the DAR. They also have a searchable website here. You can apply and do some research here as well. The next one on the list is the Obituary Times. And now I included this one because it is kind of a volunteer run index. But when you start digging through, it actually runs back to RootsWeb. And RootsWeb is an ancestry company, but a lot of the stuff on RootsWeb is also free. So that's a lot of the forums and stuff that, you know, I don't know that is as commonly used these days, but I just wanted to make sure that if you have obituaries and stuff that maybe are not online anywhere, you might want to share them here as well, because it kind of works both ways. Next on the list is Chronicling America, and this is again in the world of newspapers. One of the great things about Chronicling America, well, this is part of the Library of Congress website, but you can dig through and look for newspapers for free. I would not say that they have a huge amount, but I have found some stuff on here. Unfortunately, as far as the free newspapers go, I typically have more success at the paid services like Genealogy Bank, newspapers.com, newspaperarchives.com, but Chronicling America is free and is available for you. Moving on to the next one, Fulton's New York postcards. Now, this is not just postcards. This is actually, believe it or not, in the realm of newspapers as well. If you have Flash on your computer, this will work. I believe the all these little graphics that you see swimming around on the screen are Flash driven, and I don't know that Flash is necessarily widely used these days, but it is still here. So you can search his archives. You can search through here on the Fulton History website. Next on the list, the Internet Archive, which, if you are familiar with the Wayback Machine, it used to be called the Wayback Machine, is now the Internet Archive. It has a ton of information. It could be that you, and I'm kind of categorizing this under searching for information more so than necessarily searching surnames. They have a ton of information here. As you can see, they've got books and movies. This is a great resource. And when I'm doing research for some of the videos that I produce, and I'm looking for clips, I'm looking for images to include, I will come here as well. It's a good resource. Just keep that one in mind. Also, coming up next is the Wiki Tree. So the Wiki Tree is kind of interesting in that it's a collaborative tree. I don't have a ton of experience in here, but I've been playing around with it. And it again is kind of a collaborative tree like Family Search. And they do have some records here. It says our tree includes 22.5 million profiles, and they have DNA connections and such. So, you know, it might be that if you're really stuck and you want to kind of look everywhere you can look, go take a look at the Wiki Tree. You might find something over there. Let's see. Next up is the Digital Public Library of America. This is also known as the DP.LA. So the DP.LA, again, is a great resource for images. It says, even right here, images, text, videos, sounds from across the United States. Is a great resource for getting, you know, the feel of America. And when I was doing my episode on migration across America, where it was part of a collaboration project with some of the other YouTubers, I did one about the migration across America, but really kind of focused on the railroads and the Transcontinental Railroad. And I was able to find quite a bit of information here about the Transcontinental Railroad on this website. So it might be another one that you hadn't thought to go look, but I recommend it. The next one on the list, of course, is the Library of Congress. you probably are already familiar with the Library of Congress. Again, it's a great place to find a little Americana. It has all kinds of information. It even has a researchers tab here. And it's got a lot of great history, especially if you have somebody who may have been famous. But it also has a lot of information about the era. Like, we always want to, when we're researching genealogy, we want to understand what was going on during the time in which our ancestors lived and the location in which they lived. And this is a good place to go dig that information out. Coming up next is the National Archives and Records Administration. Well, this kind of is a no-brainer, but people, I think, tend to overlook it sometimes. And it has a lot of great records online. Of course, if you want to go visit the National Archives, there's a visitors page here as well. I would suggest that you take a look, especially if you have military family. They have veteran records here as well. A lot of this information you will also find on Family Search, on Ancestry, and some of those other locations. But you can search it right here from the National Archives. Allen County Public Library. Now, we cannot ignore the Allen County Public Library. Allen County Public Library in Fort Wayne, Indiana is probably one of the premier places to go for genealogy. And they really, kudos to them. I'm going to flip through a couple pages here, but a couple of the things that I wanted to point out was the Genealogy Center surname file. You can search surnames here. And one of the things that I want to talk about, I don't know if you can see this very well, is the fuzzy, exact, and soundex searching. So just so you'll have a kind of an understanding of what that means. It's different ways to search to make it exact or make it general searching. Fuzzy says it will search for a string of characters. Searching Smith would find all these different spellings of Smith, as well as like Aerosmith. An exact spelling would be Smith exactly as you type it, and a soundex search would be finding Smith spelled in these various different ways, as well as Schmidt. By the way, on Facebook the other day, I posted as just kind of a fun little posting about Soundex, and I was wondering how many people had remembered Soundex, but Soundex was an older indexing way of making sound-alike names in one number, because the index you searched by like M520 or something. So that was how we searched the census records back in the day. Now we just search by name most of the time. But okay, Allen County. So a couple other places you can search is the Family Resources on Allen County Public Library and the Family Bible Records. Those are the three areas that I'm just kind of pointing out, but there's a ton of information out there on the Allen County Public Library website. So next up on my list is the Bureau of Land Management. And if you're not familiar with the Bureau of Land Management, it is also known as the General Land Office, and it has a lot of the old maps and deeds and land records. If you ancestors, especially if they migrated across the United States and maybe settled in Middle America, and they have just great information here, especially if you have ancestors who obtained land grants as part of the migration process. There's a lot of good information on this website. That I am looking at often is the Africana Heritage project. There is a couple of them here. Now, this particular one, I don't have a ton of experience with, but there is some clickable, the quick search here. In fact, I think I have it here. Yes, the quick search guide. You can jump over here and do some research here. May or may not be helpful to you. Also, the Freedmen Bureau records. Now, this is really helpful. If you are looking, especially in the southern states, the Freedmen Bureau records are really broken up into a lot of different subsets. And the cool part about the Freedmen Bureau records is, well, it wasn't just for Black history, it was also poor whites as well. But there's just a lot of different records available. I did a whole video with Diane Richard on this a while back. So if you dig through the videos here on Genealogy TV and just search for Freedmen Bureau, you will find that as well. This is the last one on my list. Now, this one is called Free Reg, and this is for United Kingdom parish registries. And I was messing around on here a little bit earlier today, and it's really easy to use. You can search by location as well, but you do have to have a surname in here, and you have to have a range of dates, and you also have to actually, you can't, when I was doing it, you couldn't actually pick all three types. You had to pick baptism search, marriage search. So just that was my experience with it, but I wanted to make sure that you had an option for UK records as well. I have two more here that I'm going to talk about that are really not, well, they're free research locations, but Family Tree Magazine, I have to hand it to them. Wow, they did a great job with this one. They have an article about free genealogy websites, and they have a ton of stuff. I was actually using some of this as I was preparing for this episode, and they go through a ton of free websites. The thing that I liked about it was that it had some of the countries. So if you get in here and you want free Irish genealogy websites, you want Danish genealogy websites, and so on, there was a ton of stuff here for you. The last one on the list is Cyndi's list. And if you're not familiar with Cyndi's list, you should be, because it's a list of lists, right? So is the other one I just showed you, but Family Tree Magazine is a list of lists as well as Cyndi's list. But Cyndi's list has a ton of resources as well, and it literally is a list of websites. And so if you are looking for, and again, by location, if you're looking specifically by location, it's right there on the homepage, or you can browse by category and such. I can't bring you everything that's out there in the world of free websites in a live show here, but certainly I can bring you 30 and I can show you where to find more. So I hope that was helpful. Since I'm going to pull open the chat box a little bit bigger so I can see it. And Bureau of Land Management is great for the fan club research. You're right, June. For those who are not familiar with what fan club research is, it's when Friends, Associates, and Neighbors is the acronym that Elizabeth Shown Mills created some time ago. And it really is about researching all of the family members and or business associates and neighbors and people that are within our ancestors' circle while they were, alive. And you'll find that these, we call them the fan club members, but you'll find that your ancestors' fan club will show up in records as witnesses on marriage certificates, and they might show up again later on a deed or something where they bought and sold land. In my case, I found one who was for some reason I thought was just a business associate. Turns out to be my ancestor's barber, a friend in the gun club, and so on. So those, once you start understanding the fan club, it can be wildly helpful. Hey, as a reminder for the information access level channel members, there is a handout for this. And if you are not a channel member and would like to become one, just click the join button below the video and you can get access to that in the community tab. All right, it's time to binge watch some more videos. Check it out. All right, until next time, keep on climbing your family tree.